The exchange student asterisk. The night was calm at Terranova University, the stars glowing above like soft lanterns in space. Humans and aliens studied together here, sharing classes, meals, and sometimes even dreams. It was the most peaceful school in the galaxy until now. A loud scream tore through the student dormitory halls. Doors opened, students leaned out, and one voice echoed louder than all the others. "Human, what have you done to me? Why is my belly so swollen?" At the center of the hallway stood Mira Thiel, a foreign exchange student from the planet Sorrentha. She was known for being smart, quiet, and very serious. But now her silver skin was flushed with panic, and her long fingers clutched her belly. In horror, her slim figure had changed overnight, her middle rounded and tight like something was growing inside. Across from her stood Eli Warren, a human student holding a cup of tea and a digital tablet. He blinked, confused and shocked. "Wait. What? I didn't do anything," he stuttered. "You did. You gave me that drink last week." "The one with your human spices," Mira shouted. "You said it would calm my nerves, and now look at me." Whispers moved through the crowd like a wave. Some students gasped, others laughed nervously, and a few pulled out their phones to record. Mira's antennae twitched with stress as her body trembled. A professor arrived, followed by medical bots and a tall alien with glowing eyes. "Everyone, back to your rooms. This is a private health matter." The professor ordered. The hallway slowly cleared, but the tension stayed in the air like smoke. Mira was taken to the medical wing, her eyes never leaving Eli's face. He followed behind, still holding the now cold tea, inside the medical bay. Alien machines scanned her body with glowing lights and strange hums. Ellie sat in a corner, too scared to speak. Dr. Valerie, a Sorrenthan healer, looked over the results in silence. Finally she turned to both of them, her face serious. "There is something growing in her abdomen," the doctor said calmly. "It's not a baby, and it's not normal for her kind." Mira's eyes widened. "Then what is it?" Dr. Valerie pointed at the scan. "We believe something inside your digestive system reacted to the drink," she explained. "You had spores from your homeworld still inside your body, possibly dormant." Eli leaned forward. "I swear, I only made her tea, chamomile and cinnamon," he said quietly. "I just wanted to help her feel better during exams. It seems those herbs triggered a change." The doctor continued. "Something is now developing inside you, Mira, but it's not a pregnancy as humans understand it." Mira looked at her belly in fear. "Then what is it turning into?" "We don't know," the doctor admitted, "but we must keep you under watch." Eli stood up, nervous but serious. "I'll stay too. I'll do whatever I can," he said. Mira glared at him, her voice sharp. "I didn't ask for your help. You didn't. But I gave you something that caused this," Eli replied. "I won't walk away." For a moment, the room was quiet. Then Mira turned her face away. "Do what you want," she whispered. Outside the medical bay, the rumors were already spreading. Some students said she was pregnant with a human hybrid. Others claimed she had been infected with a secret experiment. The truth was stranger than fiction, and no one knew what would happen next. All Mira knew was that something was growing inside her, something alien, and somehow connected to a human, and all Eli knew was that whatever happened, he couldn't leave her alone now, not after this. The strange growth. Mira sat on the edge of the medical bed, her hands trembling as they rested on her belly. The lights were dimmed, and soft music played in the background, meant to calm patients. But there was no peace inside her, only questions, confusion, and a growing fear she couldn't explain. Growth inside her wasn't painful, not exactly. It pulsed, almost like it had a rhythm of its own. It responded to her emotions, tightening when she was angry, relaxing when she calmed down. It felt aware. Eli sat on the chair beside her, quietly watching. He didn't speak unless she did. She hated that, but she also didn't ask him to leave. "You're staring again," Mira said without turning her head. "Sorry," Eli muttered, looking down. "I'm just trying to understand, that's all." Dr. Valerie walked in just then. holding a new data pad and wearing a tight expression. "I ran a deeper scan," she began. "You both need to hear this." Mira sat straighter. "Is it dangerous?" she asked. "No." The doctor replied, pausing. "But it is. Unique." She turned the pad toward them, showing a swirling shape inside Mira's belly. "It's not a parasite, not a baby, and not an infection," she said. "It's a biosymbiotic construct, partly Serenthan, partly something else something. Human." Myra's skin turned pale silver with fear. "You mean it's alive?" "Yes," Dr. Valerie said. "And it's feeding off your energy, but not harming you." Eli stood up. "Feeding off her energy? You mean it's like a plant?" The doctor nodded slowly. "More like a seed, awakened by a trigger. Your tea, most likely, interacted with dormant spores in her digestive system. Together, they formed this living thing. But I didn't know," Eli said quickly. "I just used herbs from Earth-normal herbs, not anything weird." "The problem isn't just your tea," Valerie said. "It's Myra's biology too. She should have been cleared before entering Earth." Mira clenched her fists. "I passed all health scans." "Clearly something was missed," Valerie said sharply. "Now the university board is requesting a full investigation." "A what?" Eli asked. "They're calling this a cross-species contamination event," Valerie said. "And they may suspend both of you." Mira stood up so fast the scanner beeped in protest. "That's not fair. He didn't do anything." "You just accused me of doing everything," Eli said quietly. Mira froze, looking down. "I know," she whispered. "But now I don't know what to believe." The growth inside her shifted gently, as if it didn't like the stress. She winced, placing her hand over it. "What happens if it keeps growing?" she asked. Dr. Valerie sighed. "We'll monitor it for now. But if it starts affecting your organs or mental state, we'll have to remove it." Myra looked away, her voice low. "And if it's more than that? If it's part of me?" Eli watched her silently. Something in his chest ached, not from guilt, but something deeper. Responsibility, maybe. Or something else he didn't want to name yet. That evening, Mira was placed in isolation, not because she was sick, but because the university didn't know what to do with her. Eli wasn't allowed inside, so he sat outside the room on the hallway bench, arms crossed and eyes heavy with worry. He replayed everything, every time he spoke to her. Helped her, smiled at her. How could something so simple turn into this? Inside the glass room, Mira placed her hand on her belly and whispered softly, "Whatever you are, don't hurt me." And the strange life inside her pulsed back, gently, like a heartbeat. She closed her eyes, unsure if she felt comfort or fear. But one thing was certain: this thing growing inside her wasn't just science. It was becoming a mystery tied to both their worlds. And soon, the whole galaxy would know. The pulse within asterisk. The lights in Myra's isolation chamber flickered for the third time in 1 hour. But this time, they didn't come back on. Instead, the room was bathed in a strange blue glow, not from the walls, not from the ceiling, but from her belly. She gasped and stumbled back, falling onto the bed. The pulse inside her had grown stronger, steady, deep, like the thump of a second heart. The glow wasn't painful, but it was alive. It lit her skin from the inside out, making her look like a creature made of stars. She called for help, but the intercom crackled uselessly. Medical bots stayed frozen outside the glass, their systems confused by the power surge. She was alone, or so she thought, outside. L.A. saw the blue light flash from under the isolation door. He stood up, alarmed. "Something's wrong in there." He shouted at the guard droid, but the droid didn't move. Its eyes blank with a red warning signal flashing across its chest. "Forget this," Eli muttered. He pulled out the emergency override car he'd secretly borrowed from the tech lab and slid it into the panel. The door hissed open, and warm blue light poured out like fog. "Mira," he called, stepping inside. She turned to him, eyes wide, her skin glowing like moonlight. "It's growing, Eli. It's not stopping," she said, her voice shaking. It feels like it's trying to connect to something. He rushed to her side, but stopped inches away when he saw what was forming under her skin. It was a pattern, like circuitry, glowing lines spiraling from her belly outward. Not random, not chaotic, it was a design. Suddenly, Mira clutched her chest and gasped. "It's speaking to me," she whispered. Eli blinked. "What?" "Not with words, just feelings," she said, like a voice without sound. "What is it saying?" he asked. Mira looked at him, eyes filled with fear and awe. "It's calling something," before they could speak further. The walls around them lit up with alarms. The medical bots reactivated. Red lights flashing through the chamber. A voice echoed from the speakers. "Code Violet, genetic anomaly detected. All personnel clear the zone." Eli didn't move, neither did Mira. Dr. Valerie burst in seconds later with a team of security officers. She froze when she saw Myra's glowing skin and the strange patterns across her belly. "Don't touch her," Eli warned, stepping in front of her. "You don't know what this is." "We have no choice now," the doctor said firmly. "She's emitting radiation signals not found in any known species." "It's not harming me," Mira said loudly. "It's communicating. It's not dangerous." Valerie's face tightened. "The university board has ordered immediate containment. This has gone beyond medicine." The guards stepped forward with containment suits. But before they could touch her, the blue glow flared, forcing everyone back. The pulse inside Mira grew louder, so loud it vibrated the air. And then it stopped, just like that. The light vanished. The hum fell silent, and Mira collapsed in Eli's arms. Her skin cooled. The glowing lines faded. But the swelling in her belly remained. Dr. Valerie knelt beside them, scanning quickly. "She's stable," she said quietly, "but something has activated inside her." Eli held Mira close, brushing a strand of hair away from her face. "She said it's calling something," he whispered. "What if she's right?" Valerie looked at the readings, her expression dark. "Then we need to find out what it's calling." That night, across space, a signal left Earth. A signal that didn't belong to any Earth species. A silent beacon launched from Mira's body. Bouncing across deep space, far away, something stirred. Something ancient, watching, and now awakened. But on campus, no one knew yet, not even Mira, who finally opened her eyes and whispered one chilling question to Eli. "Did I just send a message to the stars?" Eli didn't answer. He didn't know if he should. The message beyond stars. For the first time in history, a Sorrenthan student was placed under full planetary observation. Not because she was dangerous, but because no one understood what had awakened inside her. Mira didn't feel like a student anymore. She felt like a lab sample. A satellite hovered above the university, tracking her movements inside her private chamber. New scanners buzzed nonstop. Even the air smelled different, too clean, too controlled. And deep inside her belly, the glow had returned, silent and warm like something dreaming. She sat by the window, wrapped in a gray blanket. Outside, the stars blinked like curious eyes. She stared at them and whispered, "Did you hear me?" There was a knock at the glass door. Eli stood there, holding a brown paper bag. Mira smiled faintly and let him in. "You're still bringing me food?" she asked. "Only the good kind," he said, pulling out warm earth bread and fruit cubes. "And nothing with tea this time," she chuckled softly. "I'm surprised they still let you visit." "They didn't," Eli replied, sitting down next to her. "I hacked the guard drone and said I'm your emotional support human." Mira laughed, a real laugh, short but honest. Then her smile faded. "You should have stayed away, Eli," she said. "If something comes because of me, I don't want you in the middle." He leaned forward, serious. "If something's coming, I want to be the first to know. I think we both deserve answers." That night, Mira couldn't sleep. She lay on her back, staring at the ceiling, feeling the gentle warmth inside her. And then, the dream returned. She was floating, surrounded by light, not fire, not electricity, but something ancient and soft. Voices echoed, but not with words. They were pulses, vibrations, emotions. They carried memories, not hers. But from something older than anything she had known, she saw planets crumbling, ships fleeing, stars dimming, and then she saw a creature tall, glowing, with skin like water and eyes that saw through time. It reached for her, not to hurt her, but to hand her something, a memory, a mission. When Miri awoke, she was drenched in sweat, her blanket soaked. She sat up and whispered, "They're coming." Alarms didn't go off. No ships fell from the sky. But the stars above her dorm window had changed. She could feel it, like a string tugging her chest. Later that morning, Dr. Valerie entered with a team of galactic researchers. "Mira," she said, "we detected a wave pulse matching no known frequency. And it came from you." Mira nodded slowly. "I know," she said. "It was a call, and now they're answering." Valerie stared at her. "Who is answering?" Mira placed a hand over her belly. "I don't know their name," she said. "But they're not from Sorrentha, and they're not from Earth. Then where?" Eli asked, standing beside her now. "Somewhere older," Mira whispered. "Something left behind, and now it's waking through me." One of the researchers stepped forward. "We believe the seed inside you is not from your planet, or this one," he said. "It may be a last echo of a species thought to be extinct." "Extinct?" Eli asked. The man nodded. "They were called the Voril, a race of starwalkers who vanished over 100,000 years ago. No one ever found proof they were real, until now." Mira looked at the screen displaying her body scan. "Then why me?" she asked. "Why not someone else?" Eli answered before anyone else could. "Because you were in the right place. At the wrong time, or maybe the right one." Suddenly the ceiling lights flickered again, and this time, every digital screen in the room showed the same thing. A spiral of light. Rotating slowly, as if watching, Mira's belly warmed again, and her voice dropped to a whisper. "I think they see me now, outside." Across the skies of Earth, small points of light appeared. No ships, no weapons, just stars that didn't belong. Something was arriving, not in war, but in memory. Not to invade, but to reclaim something lost. And Mira was the bridge, the living vessel that had called them back. The ones who remembered Asterisk, they didn't come in ships, they came in light, one by one. The stars over Earth flickered, then moved, not falling but forming. Circles of golden energy rotated in the sky like living symbols, and across the university campus, gravity itself seemed to hold its breath. Mira stood barefoot in the courtyard, her blanket falling from her shoulders. She didn't speak, didn't run, didn't hide. She only looked up, her eyes glowing softly like the mark that now curled across her belly. "They're here," she said quietly. Eli stood beside her, gripping her arm gently. "What are they?" he asked. Mira tilted her head as if listening. "They call themselves the Remembered," she said, "and they're not just coming for me." Behind them, professors, students, and soldiers watched the sky in stunned silence. The glowing forms above were not attacking, not descending. They were watching, responding suddenly. A beam of soft light touched down in front of Mira. It didn't burn the ground or shake the earth. It shimmered like mist and held a shape inside it. A tall figure stepped forward, glowing, and yet solid. Its face was smooth, eyes endless. Its body neither male nor female, and its voice was like a wind through glass. "You carry our last voice," the being said, looking at Mira. "You woke what we sealed, long before your worlds ever spoke." Everyone held their breath. Mira spoke softly. "I didn't mean to. I only drank tea and studied." The being's head tilted gently. "Every seed waits for the right garden, the right light, the right hands," it said. "You were the right one, Doctor." Valerie stepped forward slowly, her voice cautious. "What do you want with her?" "We want to remember ourselves," the being answered. "And she has offered her memory." Eli moved protectively in front of Mira. "She didn't offer anything, this just happened." The being looked at him, not with anger but curiosity. "And yet, you stayed," it said. "You are not her kind, but you chose to remain." Eli nodded firmly. Because she matters to me. A pause hung in the air, like the moment before lightning. Then the being stepped forward and reached out not to Mira, but to Eli. You are the unknown variable, the one not written in the stars. Eli didn't move. The being's hand brushed his forehead, and his eyes flashed with golden light. Images filled his mind, cities in space, giant living ships, people made of starlight and song. And then silence, deep, endless silence. The being stepped back. She carries the vessel, but he carries the choice. It said, "What does that mean?" Dr. Valerie asked, her voice shaking. "It means the vessel must now decide what happens next." The being answered, "And the human must carry the memory if she cannot." Mira's hands moved to her belly. The warmth inside her was stronger now. "I don't understand," she said. "What happens if I say no?" "Then the memory fades," the being replied, "and we remain forgotten forever. And if I say yes?" She whispered, "You become the first of a new memory, a bridge between what was and what may be." Eli looked at her. "You don't have to do this, Mira," he said gently. "Whatever this is, we'll face it together." She stared at the glowing lines on her body, then at the being, and then she looked up at the stars. "No more hiding," she said. "No more fear." She took a deep breath. "I accept." The sky pulsed once. Every glowing circle above shimmered brighter, and the being bowed its head. Then the memory begins again, it said, and vanished into the light. All across the campus, silence fell. But inside Mira's body, the seed stirred, not in pain, but in awakening. The swelling wasn't sickness, it was birth, not of a child, but of something far older, an ancient thought wrapped in a living form. And the first of its words bloomed inside her mind like a song. "Remember us." The living memory, she know. Longer dreamed when she slept, she remembered. Mira lay in her medical bed, eyes closed, but her mind was wide open. She saw worlds that didn't exist anymore, oceans made of crystal, skies filled with bridges of light. She walked beside creatures who whispered without mouths, who lived without fear. They were not gods, but they were old, older than planets. They called themselves the Remembered, and now their history flowed through her blood. In the waking world, her belly had stopped glowing. The swelling had eased slightly, but it had not disappeared. Instead, something new had taken root. Threads of light curled under her skin like growing vines. She felt no pain, only the weight of something important. A purpose. Across from her, Eli hadn't moved for hours. He sat beside her, legs crossed, blinking through files and readings on a screen, trying to understand what she had become, trying to protect her from something even he couldn't see. Suddenly, Mira opened her eyes and sat up. "It's time," she whispered. Eli leaned forward. "Time for what?" "They want me to show them," she said, placing a hand on her chest. "The university, the council, the entire galaxy. They won't believe until they see." Dr. Valerie entered, holding a new report. "The university board is calling for your removal from Earth," she said. "Too many unknowns, too many risks." Mira stood up slowly. "Then I'll show them why I came," she said. "I'll show them what the Remembered left behind." Outside, word had already spread. Students, teachers, military officials, even reporters waited in the central plaza. A stage had been prepared, though no one knew what would happen. Only that something strange had taken hold of the Sorrenthan student and the human who refused to leave her side. Mira stepped onto the platform barefoot, her skin glowing faintly in the setting sun. Eli followed, silent but steady. "I don't bring danger," Mira said aloud, her voice carried by the audio towers. "I carry history." She touched her belly with both hands and took a deep breath. The light returned, not as a flare or weapon, but as a gentle wave. A soft shimmer rose from her skin, dancing in the air above the crowd. And then they saw it, images, not holograms, not projections, but living memory. The plaza became the canvas. Everyone saw what Mira saw. They saw a civilization older than theirs, peaceful, wise, beautiful, and they saw its death disease. War, silence, and then a final choice. To place their entire culture into seeds. To let their stories survive not in stone, but in life. Mira stepped forward, her voice clear. "I didn't create this," she said. "I only drank tea, remember?" She added with a soft laugh, "But something inside me heard their whisper. And now I remember them." Eli turned to the audience. "This wasn't planned," he said. "But if we send her away, we erase something the galaxy was never meant to forget." The crowd stood silent, overwhelmed. For once, even the politicians said nothing. Dr. Valerie approached the platform and faced the people. "As a healer, I feared this change," she said. "But as a witness, I say now, this is not a threat." Suddenly, the light faded, the images vanished. Mira collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Ele caught her before she hit the floor. "It's okay," he whispered. "You did it." She smiled weakly. "The memory is safe now. Not just in me and above." Them, the stars shimmered again, not in fear, but in recognition. From that day, Mira was no longer just an exchange student. She was called the living memory. And Eli, the human who gave her tea, became her voice, her shield, and her truth. Together, they reminded the galaxy that even forgotten stars still shine, if someone is willing to remember. The legacy within Asterisk, the stars didn't return to silence. They whispered. Across deep space, ancient signals now stirred again. And on Earth, Mira was no longer just one student among many. She had become the voice of a civilization that once ruled. The stars chose to fade, but the final part of their memory, their legacy, was not in light, or words, or even stories. It was in the thing growing inside her. Inside the university's new memory chamber, Mira sat cross-legged inside a field of soft blue light. Her eyes were closed, her skin calm. Across her belly, the glowing patterns had fully formed, spiraling out in perfect symmetry. She was not in pain, but she was changing. Outside the chamber, Eli watched her through the transparent wall. He had barely slept in days. He no longer cared what people thought. He just wanted her to survive. Dr. Valerie stood beside him, arms folded. "The pattern is stabilizing," she said. "But her body is almost at its limit." Eli swallowed hard. "And the growth?" Valerie didn't answer right away. Then she said quietly, "It's ready to be born." Eli turned sharply. "Born? What do you mean?" "It's not a child." "No," Valerie said. "It's something else, something that holds the last piece of the remembreds." "Will." Inside the chamber, Mira opened her eyes and smiled faintly. "I can hear them," she whispered. "They're not gone." Suddenly, the chamber pulsed with light, not blinding, but soft and steady like a heartbeat. A shape rose from her belly, not bursting through, but phasing outward. A form made of energy, small and round. Floating gently in the air, the glowing orb hovered over her, then slowly rotated. Inside it, galaxies swirled, stars danced, and one single note echoed out across every device. Every mind, every screen. It was music, pure and wordless, but full of sorrow, joy, memory, and hope. Outside, Eli fell to his knees, breath stolen by the sound. Valerie wiped her eyes without knowing why. All over campus, people paused, stared at the sky, and listened. For the first time in their lives, they felt what it meant to remember something they never lived. The orb floated down into Myra's open hands. She didn't cry, she didn't collapse, she simply whispered, "Go, and tell your people they are not forgotten." The orb rose again, passed through the chamber wall like mist. It floated upward into the sky, and within seconds, it vanished into the stars. Silence returned. But it wasn't the same silence. It was full, as if the universe had taken a breath. And now it held it, carefully. The next day, the Galactic Council contacted Earth. Not with threats, but with a request. They wanted to speak to the girl who remembered, and the boy who never left her side. Mira didn't care about fame. She only cared that the pain was gone. Her belly was flat again, the patterns fading like old ink. But something inside her had changed forever. Eli sat beside her on the bench outside the garden where she now liked to rest. She looked at him and smiled. Gently. Still think your tea was harmless? She teased. He laughed. Let's just say I've retired from herbal experiments. They both laughed, softly, tiredly, like people who had come back from somewhere far away. You know, Mira said, if you hadn't given me that tea, none of this would have happened. Yeah, Eli nodded. But maybe the universe was just waiting for a reason to speak. And it picked a stressed-out alien girl and a clueless Earth boy, Mira said, shaking her head. Sounds about right. Eli replied, smiling. Above them, a new star twinkled. One that didn't belong to any chart. Some said it was just a satellite. Others believed it was watching, waiting, carrying a message across galaxies. Whatever the truth was, it no longer mattered to them. They had played their part, and the universe remembered because one human shared a cup of tea, and one alien girl dared to listen.